Welcome, dear Sagittarius. Whether you're a returning soul family member or a curious first-time traveler stumbling upon Zodiac Talks Tarot, I'm so glad you landed here. You see, this corner of the cosmic web is reserved for truth seekers, trailblazers, and yes, the chosen ones, those bold enough to follow their intuition in this epic year of triumph 2025. And if there's one sign that can handle the spiritual plot twists of love, life, and destiny with a backpack full of jokes and a passport to the divine, it's you. Now, let's talk July. The love portion of your tarot reading doesn't so much start as it explodes. First card? The Nine of Swords. Someone out there is losing sleep over you, Sagittarius. And no, not because you left your reusable water bottle at their place. This is deeper. This person's got you looping in their head like a Spotify sad playlist on repeat. Next. The Two of Wands and Eight of Wands. Translation: they're planning something. Possibly a grand gesture. More likely an impulsive FaceTime call with terrible lighting and even worse timing, probably while you're in your do not disturb philosophical mood. Here's the thing, as someone who has studied the Sagittarian archetype for decades with a mix of Jungian psychology, classical astrology, and a dash of Buddhist detachment, I know this much is true: you don't do mixed signals. You're either in or you're flying solo, humming a Bob Marley song at the airport. So when this person comes in hot with emotional confessions, finally, you'll want clarity, not chaos. This month, your reading confirms that everything shifts suddenly. Not just in love, but across career, purpose, and healing. Someone from your past might switch up fast, 1 minute cold, the next, poetic. But don't be fooled, the real test isn't in how they approach you, it's in how aligned you are with your vision. Whether you're navigating heartbreak, launching a passion project, or just decoding cryptic dreams with cats and symbols, this is your cue. Stay discerning, stay free, and laugh when the universe drops the punchline. After all, Sagittarius, you weren't born to play it small. You were born to shoot your arrow toward the truth, even if it means missing a few marks along the way. Sagittarius, when it comes to romantic tension, you're not one to pretend you're interested just to keep things polite. Let's break this down with the insight of someone who's spent decades decoding zodiac psychology, sipping tea with Carl Jung, figuratively, and meditating on emotional patterns through the lens of Buddhist non-attachment. Here's what's going on beneath the cosmic drama. From the cards and the energy in this July 2025 reading, it's crystal clear: someone feels ignored. And not just "you didn't like my post" ignored, existentially ignored. They're trying to get through to you, probably with overthought texts and thinly veiled emotional haikus, but it's like shouting into a canyon where your spirit guide has already installed a firewall. Meanwhile, you're casually unbothered, sipping your tea, wondering if they're actually serious or just bored and fishing for validation. Let's be real, Sagittarius doesn't have time for ambiguity. If they can't say what they mean without 12 metaphors and a gif, your higher self is already planning a solo retreat in the Andes. Clarity is your love language. Anything less feels like emotional spam. And it gets better. The cards then reveal the Page of Cups, the Emperor, and the Eight of Cups, basically the trifecta of someone who likes you, respects you, but is also terrified that you're about to ghost them, with a philosophical quote and an airplane emoji. They're walking away from something, or someone, that didn't work, dragging their emotional baggage like a carry-on with one broken wheel. And you're giving off that delicious Sagittarian detachment, not because you're cold, but because you're wise. You've got standards. High ones. And if someone's bringing confusion instead of calm, you'd rather go read a book on Eastern philosophy than play emotional charades with someone who doesn't know what they want. Bottom line? You're not hard to get. You're just not easy to impress. Let's talk about your perspective now, Sagittarius, and this is where things get interesting. The Page of Pentacles, Two of Swords, and Two of Cups show up like characters in a romantic indie film that's unsure if it's supposed to be a comedy or a drama. You see potential here, no doubt. There's a spark, a connection, maybe even a hint of that mythical soul tie. But here's the catch, they seem like they're navigating this thing with a blindfold and a GPS that keeps recalculating. This isn't your first spiritual rodeo. You've grown enough through heartbreaks, karmic loops, and some deep conversations with your own shadow to know that confusion isn't chemistry. What you're picking up on might not be emotional depth, it might just be unresolved baggage wearing cologne. You're standing there with your philosophical tool belt, ready to build something meaningful, and there, still trying to figure out which end of the hammer to use. Jupiter, your ruling planet, is all about expansion, truth, and knowing. You don't do gray areas. If it's real, say it. If it's not, well, there's a whole wide world out there, and your Sagittarius passport doesn't collect dust. Now, here's the plot twist, this person is serious. The Knight of Cups shows up, all emotional and poetic, but with the nervous energy of someone about to confess their love through a voicemail, then immediately regret it and pretend it was a butt dial. They want connection. They feel the Two of Cups just like you do. But then Mercury retrograde enters like the chaotic best friend who spills wine on your white couch, scrambling communication, delaying clarity, and turning I love you into yet. I mean, like, feelings. It's awkward. It's adorable. And it's exhausting if you're not in the mood to babysit someone's spiritual growth. Bottom line, you're not cold, you're clear. You'll open your heart, but only for someone who can meet you there with presence, purpose, and a sentence that doesn't begin with so, like. Sagittarius, the cosmic roller coaster continues, and you're riding it like a philosopher on fire. Now we reach what I like to call the emotional earthquake zone, where the Tower card makes its grand entrance alongside the Eight of Wands. Translation? Buckle up. There's a Tower moment coming, and it's less of a polite knock and more of a cosmic SWAT team kicking down your emotional door. Your person, bless their heart, has been emotionally constipated for what feels like several reincarnations. But the feelings? Oh, they run deep. You may think they've gone radio silent, but don't be surprised if you get a sudden 2 a.m. text that reads like a Shakespeare monologue except way more anxious and with far worse punctuation. Or maybe a surprise visit that feels less like romance and more like a karmic pop quiz. The Tower plus the Eight of Wands is pure chaos, but the good kind, if you're into plot twists and soul lessons. Now, here's the kicker. Their intention isn't drama. The Three of Pentacles shows they genuinely want to rebuild something real, something sustainable. But here's the fine print: only if you're still interested. And if you're not, that's okay too. As we say in Buddhist teachings, attachment is the root of suffering. But conscious connection, that's different. That's sacred. And Sagittarius, your soul knows the difference. Then we move to the final act, your advice and the hidden whispers from the universe, and probably your person's late night playlist. Cards drawn, 10 of Pentacles, the Fool, and Queen of Swords. The message? Think long term. Take the leap if your spirit says yes, but carry your sword of clarity. No, seriously, keep it sharp. Nostalgia can be sweet, but it's not a substitute for discernment. Now for those hidden messages that slipped through their guarded heart. I miss your smile. I look for you at airports. Of course they do. Sagittarius energy is basically TSA pre-check meets freedom fantasy. I should have believed in you. There's so much unspoken. For some of you, this isn't just romance, it's karmic cleanup. A soul contract coming due in the year of triumph 2025. And only the chosen ones, the brave, the spiritually sarcastic, and the emotionally evolved can navigate it with grace. So, what now? Trust your fire. Speak your truth. And if they can't match your clarity well, there's always another flight. Of course. Here's the revised version of your Sagittarius General plus Career plus Spiritual reading, written in a wise, humorous, and grounded American voice completely free of icons. General plus Career plus Spiritual reading for Sagittarius, the chosen ones, Year of Triumph 2025. Alright Sagittarius, let's have a heart-to-heart, just you, me, and the cosmic truth. If you're feeling like you're standing at the edge of something big, it's because you are. Your life isn't about the routine grind. You didn't come here to simply punch in and punch out. You came here to live with purpose, with fire, with meaning. And this chapter? It's all about aligning your inner wisdom with real-world action. Root down, rise up. Hierophant, Queen of Pentacles, the Devil. First, let's talk about your foundations. The Hierophant and Queen of Pentacles are working overtime here, guiding you to ground your wild Sagittarian fire into something stable and wise. You're starting to truly understand how to honor both your spiritual truth and your material reality. But because there's always a but, then comes the devil. Now don't panic. This isn't a pitchfork and flames situation. This is about attachments, overworking, people-pleasing, that toxic job dynamic or mental loop convincing you that success only comes from suffering. That's what we're calling out. You're not a machine, Sagittarius. You're not meant to be trapped in something that sucks the soul out of you, even if it pays well or looks good on paper. You're being called to redefine what success means to you. Less hustle, more meaning. Less noise, more depth. Don't sell your peace for a paycheck, no matter how shiny it looks. Big shifts coming. Now comes the energy of change, and it's big. You might be thinking about leaving a job, switching directions entirely, or finally starting that project you've kept locked in your notes app for 3 years. But here's the thing, don't just quit tomorrow and expect the universe to hand you a business plan. The message here is clear: leap with wisdom, not recklessness. Build your next chapter with intention. You don't need to rush just because you're uncomfortable. The empire you're meant to create won't be built in 3 days. And please, for the love of Sagittarius spontaneity, avoid those online quit your job today and be your own boss by Friday schemes. You need freedom, yes, but real freedom requires real groundwork. There's another layer here, and it's tender. For some of you, there's been a loss. A beloved pet. A loved one. A familiar energy that's no longer physically with you. What came through was gentle, loving, and clear. They are at peace. Especially if there was a feline presence, they showed up strong. And their message is simple: you're not alone. Grief is one of life's strangest teachers. It knocks you down, but if you let it, it also cracks you open. And Sagittarius, you're the sign that doesn't just endure, you grow from it. You find meaning in pain. You turn endings into beginnings. You transmute sorrow into wisdom, integration, and moving forward. Let's talk about what's next. You've gathered your lessons, you've faced some shadows, and now it's time to integrate. To bring it all together and move forward with clarity. Here's your spiritual to-do list. Laugh more. The Sun card literally showed up to remind you that joy is sacred. So go watch something ridiculous, dance like a maniac, or call that one friend who always makes you snort laugh. Laughter is medicine. Find balance. Temperance showed up your card, your energy, your essence. This is about harmonizing extremes. You don't need to go from 0 to 100. You can flow in the in-between. Trust it. Let go of expired timelines. The world reversed says you might be holding on to something that's already ended. Whether it's an identity, a goal, or a story about who you're supposed to be, it's time to release it. You're not the same person you were even 6 months ago, and that's not a problem. That's growth. Oh, and that romantic thread you thought was finished? It's not. The Knight of Cups popped in again. So that emotional storyline isn't quite wrapped. But the difference now is that you have the map. You're not chasing, you re-choosing. From the Oracle, 2 major reminders came through. Valley of Shadows, you've been through it, no doubt. But those valleys carved your strength. They're where your courage was born. You didn't just survive the dark. You brought back light. Saving grace, forgiveness is your key to freedom. Especially forgiving yourself. You are not your mistakes. You are your recovery. You are your growth. You're not just healing anymore. You're alchemizing. That's what the chosen ones do. They don't take the easy road. They take the one that leads to truth. Sagittarius, here's what you need to know, you're cosmically supported. You've got a spiritual dream team showing up in your reading signs like Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Scorpio, Pisces, Leo, Aries, Cancer, Aquarius, and Gemini all made appearances. Whether it's in love, career, or your inner evolution, you are not doing this alone. And listen, if someone doesn't align with the life you're building, if they don't respect your vision board, they probably belong on your past tense board. That's not shade, that's clarity. You're not here to shrink. You're here to expand. So take a breath. Remember, you're not lost, you're re-exploring. And exploration is what you were born for. Whether you're on top of the mountain or lost somewhere on the map, the journey is sacred. You're becoming someone extraordinary. If this reading sparked something in you, if it made you laugh, reflect, or feel a little more seen, go ahead and like the video, share it with a fellow truth seeker, and subscribe to Zodiac Talks Tarot. Your path is unfolding. And I'll be right here, reading the signs with you. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more general or spiritual readings, beyond just love. This journey has many chapters and you're just getting to the good part. Keep growing, keep laughing, and above all, keep aiming true.